Oh. So good. Hey everyone, Andy Sykes here, and I've just ridden to the top of a local downhill because I'm testing this beast. Here, and I want to show you this, the brand new Santa Cruz Bullit, a whole new bike for 2021, but not a new name. If you cast your mind back to the previous Bullit, you'll remember an aluminium bike with a single pivot suspension platform and 26-inch wheels. The new Bullit, well, it couldn't really be any more different, could it? For starters, this is an e-bike with a Shimano EP8 motor. To get the most of that motor, Santa Cruz have integrated a 630 watt-hour battery, and the frame is now carbon fiber. The front and rear triangles are connected together with a much more modern suspension platform too, using the same VPP design as we find on the Mega Tower. And of course, it's a mullet, or as Santa Cruz like to call it, it's an MX design. 29-inch wheel on the front and a 27.5-inch wheel on the rear. Now, Santa Cruz haven't provided all the details yet. It's still pretty top secret. So I'm not entirely sure what different models, what different builds there are. And I don't even know how much this costs. However, looking at this spec, I don't imagine you're going to get much change from £10,000. This bike that I've been riding comes with a Fox 38 fork on there, and that's the factory fork with Kashima coating. One of the best forks I have used all year. Great for big hits and really good on the supple small stuff too. That provides 170mm of travel to the front of the Bullit, while the rear also gets 170mm of travel, but via a RockShox Super Deluxe coil rear shock. Again, incredible rear shock. Now, I don't get to use coil shocks that often, but after riding this on the Bullit, I'm really open to trying it on the rest of my bikes that I've been testing too. The front and rear suspension work together extremely well. Super supple over the small stuff, enough to soak up the big stuff, no big bottom out. Basically, there isn't anything on my local trails that this thing cannot handle.
So this is the 2021 Santa Cruz Bullit. It's not the first time the Bullit name's been used. In fact, I used to have one of the last generation Bullits when I used to live in China, and that was a single pivot aluminium bike. It was 26-inch wheels maybe, I can't remember actually. This is a carbon fiber e-bike, and it has a mullet setup. So 29 on the front, 27.5 on the rear. And this is where it gets muddy, to make sure I don't get the camera covered. So yeah, this mullet bike, that was rubbish. Anyway, I don't have mud on the camera. Let's go down. So yeah, it's a mullet. And we go this way. 27.5 on the rear, 29 on the front. Our carbon fiber frame has a Shimano EP8 motor and a 630 watt-hour battery. So it's all modern, all new, and it's no longer a single pivot. Obviously it's a VPP. Now, when Santa Cruz asked me to test this bike, they only had the option of a medium or an extra large, and I went for a medium because I tend to find shorter e-bikes a little bit more fun. Now, to be honest, when I got on this originally, I did feel it was a bit tiny, but I'm getting used to it now. It's nice and fun, poppy and flowy, plenty of travel for these rocks. So this is the pimp spec bike, meaning I've got Fox factory 38 on the front, got a Coil Super Deluxe on the rear, and I've got factory Kashima coat dropper, transfer wrapper. I've also got a SRAM 12 Speed Eagle drivetrain with an eMTB specific. All right, so you're riding up your favorite trail. This is a trail that we would normally ride down, which we are going to ride down in a second. You're riding, it's a bit muddy today, so you get into this rutty section and you can spin out, you run out of momentum. Luckily, the Santa Cruz Bullit has the Shimano EP8 motor, and what that means is it has the intelligent walk mode that works regardless of what gear you're in at the back. So whack it down into walk mode, get that seat out of the way, hit the button, and away she goes. Now, the difference between this and the E8000 motor, the original Shimano e-bike motor, is that walk mode would only work if you changed gear. So if you're climbing a hill and you're in an easy gear and you need walk mode on an E8000, you actually have to get off the bike and drop the gears. With the EP8, you don't need to do that. It works regardless of what gear you're in. So which is, just makes way more sense. Right, now we're at the top. We're gonna put it in trail and we're gonna head down the trail. So in trail mode, and we're gonna enjoy this muddy descent. Let's do it. So this trail's great fun, and it's got some nice twisty corners in it, and it's a great test for a mullet bike like the Bullit. Oh, if I can ride properly, that is. Oh yes, so much fun around the corners. Oh yes, so much fun. And you've done it again. I've stopped. You know why I've stopped? Because it's so much fun. I'm going to do it again.
So I hope you enjoyed that riding footage as much as I did actually riding the Bullit. Now, one thing I've not gone into is the geometry, and as I said in my riding footage, I'm on a size medium bike, and the reason being Santa Cruz only had medium and extra large, and also I tend to prefer a shorter e-bike, you know, that extra weight and the huge amounts of travel this bike has to offer. I can get away with a shorter, more playful bike and not really give up any high-end speed when it really gets rocky and fast. So this medium-sized frame has a reach of 450 millimeters, and in fact, it's the smallest frame in the Bullit range. Santa Cruz will do medium, large, extra large, and double XL, and that double XL bike has a reach of 515 millimeters. Now, the good thing about Santa Cruz bikes, not just the Bullit, but also the rest of the Santa Cruz ranges, the seat tube length is quite short, and on the medium, on this medium bike, it's only 405 millimeters, and what that means is, if you don't tend to ride a medium, if you tend to ride a smaller bike, you may still be able to get on this. Also, it means that you're able to easily size up as well. So in theory, I could ride a double XL bike with 515 mil reach because that standover and the seat tube length is quite short. I would never want to ride a bike that long, but in theory I could. So although there isn't a small, there probably is a Santa Cruz Bullit out there that suits you. Now, over the past few weeks, I've been riding this bike and it has been absolutely amazing. It's been trouble-free and it's been an absolute joy to ride. One thing that I love about this bike, and a lot of mullet e-bikes, is the ability to switch direction really fast and without even thinking. It's almost like the bike knows where it needs to go. That big 29-inch wheel gives you tons of traction and rollover ability, if that's such a word, whereas that smaller 27.5-inch wheel really keeps the back end low and is able to flip the bike from side to side as you go around corners. And as you can see in this footage, I'm having no trouble getting this heavyweight around the tight corners, even though it's a 170 mil travel bike with a massive 630 watt-hour battery. One thing that I did notice, and I have noticed on other Shimano EP8 powered bikes, is the noise. Now, Santa Cruz have done a really good job of keeping the Bullit very, very quiet. They've got a lot of nice rubber armor on the chainstays to stop any chain slap, and the bike itself has no rattles or creaks, but the EP8 does rattle, and that is just something that I found across all EP8 bikes I've tried so far. Some commenters really don't like it and it really bugs them. Myself, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, it is a shame that such a nice, exquisite looking bike and something that handles so well does have a bit of a rattle to it, but it doesn't really detract away from how much fun this bike actually is. As I've already mentioned, the mullet design and the shorter reach really helped me to flip the bike around corners. But with 170mm of travel and that coil shock on the rear, it really loves to eat up really massive rock strikes and rooty terrain. I have no qualms that this bike will do pretty much anything you throw at it here in the UK and even further afield too. It is like the previous Bullit. It's like an enduro rider's free ride bike. It will get uphill because of that 85 Nm motor and it'll absolutely smash it down. Doesn't matter if you're going for straight out super fast KOM Strava times or if you're weaving your way through trees. The mullet design on this and that excellent travel, it just eats everything up. It's such a great fun bike. So, I mean, I've had this bike for about 3 or 4 weeks now, and overall, as I've said, I've had no issues whatsoever, except the seat post cable routing. Now, because this is a medium-sized bike, and it would tend to be for someone who is shorter than I am, the cable routing on this bike was a little bit on the short side, so I did have a bit of an issue lifting the seat post and pulling the cable through from the dropper lever. Not a major issue, but just something to keep in mind. If you do need to make sure that your seat post is at the right height, don't do it as you're entering your first ride. Make sure you do it the night before. Rookie mistake, I know, but it meant I had to come home and re-cable this baby so I could get the seat at the right height. Anyway, once it's been done, it hasn't caused me an issue whatsoever. I've had no issues with the gear change, I've had no issues with heel rub, but one thing I am a little bit interested in, not concerned so much, but a little bit interested, is this button here. Like the power button for the EP8 motor system is quite low down. It's below the coil shock and just on top of the motor. And that's a bit of a ledge where mud and grime can collect. I mean, the good thing about this is I've not really had an issue where too much mud and dirt has sat on there, and because of the shape of the frame, the dirt and the water tends to roll off pretty easily. But I do wonder what a full winter of riding would do to that button in that position. Now, speaking of mud clearance and grime, there's a lot going on here. Not only the VPP, but that chain device that keeps the chain on the EP8 motor. Now, Shimano have improved this since the previous generation on the E8000, but if you're going to be riding in muddy and claggy conditions, you are going to get mud in every conceivable crevice. Make sure you clean around the chain guide, make sure you clean around the pivots. There's so many nooks and crannies for mud and dirt to stick to. I'm not too concerned when it comes to longevity. Santa Cruz has a really good lifetime warranty on the frame and a very good warranty on the bearings too. So I'm not really worried about that. But just keeping this beauty of a bike clean, you do need to ensure you get all the dirt and grime from around there. Now, one last thing I want to talk about is that coil shock. I've already mentioned how much I enjoyed it, but one thing I haven't mentioned is the fact that it comes with a lockout lever on it. And I've not really ever needed to touch it. I mean, after all, this is an e-bike. I've got 85 Nm of torque and a boost button if I need to get uphill. So what if it bobs around a little bit? I've not touched the climb button, but if you do want more efficient climbing, there is that lever there if you need it. Overall, I've really enjoyed the Santa Cruz Bullit. To be honest, I wish it was in my price range because I would love to own one of these, and that colour is stunning. If the colour doesn't do it for you, this gloss lavender, there is a matte copper finish too. Another option you could go for too is the new Heckler. Now, the Heckler has been updated to include an MX version, so like this, it's a mullet, and it now comes with the EP8 motor. So if the Bullit is too much bike for you, but you still fancy a Santa Cruz eMTB, check out those new Hecklers. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I've answered all your questions about the new 2021 Santa Cruz Bullit. If I haven't, please feel free to go into the comment section below and ask away, and I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you all soon. Bye bye.